Go.
Okay, this is for Congress. My name is Mary McGee, and I'm an attorney and a citizen that lives and does business in Des Moines, Iowa. And we all know how jobs are being cut, so I'm going to let the union people talk about that. I'm going to talk about this from a customer's perspective. I am representing the National Federation of the Blind, and it's the oldest, largest, and most influential organization of blind people in the United States. It's nationwide with over 700 local chapters in 50 states. It was founded in 1940 as a union to protect the rights of blind workers. Among others, one of its purposes and functions is to advocate for the civil rights and equality.
We're just going to hold the mic here in front of you.
Oh, okay. Let's see. To advocate for the civil rights and equality of blind Americans. Michael Barber is our president.
Louder.
Our organization is familiar with the so-called cost-cutting antics of the United States Postal Service. We're a large part of the community that united to save the Capitol Square station when it was planned for closure. We support H.R. 630, the Postal Service Protection Act, and strongly oppose H.R. 2748, the Postal Reform Act of 2013, because H.R. 2748 will eliminate locations and services that are vital for people who can't drive, and virtually 100% of blind people cannot drive. Section 3692 of H.R. 2748 provides for the phase-out of door-to-door delivery and its replacement with something called centralized delivery. This necessarily implies that people who can't drive will need to use public transit, cabs, or privately paid or volunteer drivers to be able to receive their mail. Even though the bill provides for input from postal patrons regarding this change, I already know from my Capitol Square experience that any reference to public input by the United States Postal Service is an empty promise. H.R. 2748 also mentions some kind of waiver for physical hardship customers can obtain upon application. This means people who can't drive to the centralized delivery locations must, in essence, jump through an extra application hoop in order to receive the mail that everyone else can receive much more easily. H.R. 2748 proposes eliminating Saturday service, which will result in many customers waiting longer for mailed items like prescription medicines. The eventual outcome of this change need not be detailed. Use your imagination. The resolution to the problems of the Postal Service from the customer's perspective is H.R. 630, because it will protect 6-day mail delivery and prevent the closure of post offices. It amends Title 38 United States Code Section 404D to require adequate notice to each and every patron of a post office scheduled for closure. In short, this bill tightens up the law so that the Postal Service cannot secretly plot station closings behind the public's back, as it did in the case of the Capitol Square station. The more locations are closed and services cut, the less access we who cannot drive have to a very important public service. Since 100% of blind Americans cannot drive, the more locations closed and services cut, the less access we as blind people have to a public service that is a vital connection to the community. H.R. 2748 may not intentionally discriminate against blind Americans, but its passage will adversely impact us as a class. Its passage will effectively deny us access to a public service, and that is discrimination, plain and simple. It's a violation of our civil rights. Consequently, it's a very bad bill. I call upon Congress here and now to act accordingly. One more thing about the National Federation of the Blind. We are a strong voting bloc, and we will remember those of you who don't act accordingly on Election Day.
Yeah.